Good afternoon, everybody, and today I wanted to do a review of Warthunder Naval. Now that I've basically ground through the Japanese tech tree, I'm on the verge of getting my rank 6 ships, which will specifically be Congo right now, and I just wanted to review it for what I've seen so far, what changes Warthunder has made, what issues I see with it, whether it's present or in the future, and what do I see as the future of the game as it looks right now with what they might add. So first off, I want to touch on the stuff that I had mentioned that War Thunder might be changing in my previous video comparing World of Warships to War Thunder. And I want to say that War Thunder definitely came through with their promises to their community. They've made some really good changes to the Silver Lion and research point gains. So specifically with the Silver Lions, they adjusted all the modifiers for vehicles so that it doesn't cost as much. And then on top of that, they made it so that if you die very early on in a match and you haven't gotten to do anything, you won't have to pay the full repair cost for your ship. So say an enemy gets a very lucky shot right off the bat and detonates your ammo in your ship. You're not going to have to pay very much to repair that ship. You might not be able to use it for that match because you didn't have a backup, but at least you won't take a massive hit in Silver Lions just because that one ship got destroyed. Previously I was seeing that as an issue because, you'd lose one ship, you'd say, alright, I have to stop because, if we lose this, I'm going to lose a massive amount of Silver Lions if I, rush in and die in the second ship. I can't possibly push and just lose my all my income because of that. So this has actually been a pretty good change. They have made it so that premium players don't lose Silver Lions at all. So that's actually a pretty good change if you do want to spend money on the game. I'm still kind of refusing to, but that's just me. I'm actually kind of enjoying it without spending money on it, and I want to make sure Gaijin actually holds up to their promises before I do spend any money on it. So on top of that, the research point gains have also gotten a lot better. They have finally added in the skill-based reward systems. So if you do a certain amount of damage, and I want to say with the higher tier stuff it's like 6,500 damage, and I do know that it lists it out in the patch notes. I want to say it's a 20% gain in research points on top of whether you win. So which is another bonus to that. So it significantly speeds up your grind even if, say, you do a ton of damage on a match, you're trying to carry your team, and they just fail you. So you're just losing. You're going to get, the standard rewards would be, very low compared to a win. Well, at least now, say you're getting that skill bonus on top of that because you tried to carry your team, you did a ton of damage, you bum rushed those caps and tried to take them. I guess bum rushed is a bad term, but you sat there and you slugged it out the whole match. So here's an extra 20, 30, 40% research points off of that. And I think that's a really good change. And it's actually helped me in my grind significantly. Getting into some of the bad stuff with this though, because not all reviews can be positive, the bots are still a major problem. I think when they went to help the player base with the Silver Lions, I think that kind of helped the bots too, the ones that are just automated accounts farming stuff, not the War Thunder added bots to just fill out a match or give people with lower tier ships something to shoot at, I guess. These are specifically the fake account bots, Silver Lion farm bots, whatever you want to call them, that have one premium ship in their lineup. They sit and spawn, they shoot at anything that appears, and once you sink them they leave and go on to the next match, and it's all automated. They make it a terrible grind for any new player that can't take them out effectively. They make easy food for battleships at least, but that's less players that your team has participating now because those bots aren't going to move to take a cap or support, and they're not going to respawn. So it kind of makes for bad gameplay overall, and I'd really like to see War Thunder kind of get after them a little bit more. Maybe once they're done with the community wish list, they'll have more time to focus on it, but for now it's still a big problem that I'd like to see them address. The ship mix based on this is another one that I find issue with, because there are ships in the line where you're at a certain battle rating and let's just use the bots as an example. They're in a 6.0 cruiser that's just pounding the hell out of your 5.0 ship. You don't have an easy way to take that out. So you're done. It sucks for you, and you have no way to fight back because your ship's such a low tier. And this is kind of twofold. You know, it's a problem with the bots, but at the same time, replace that bot with any player with a higher tier ship, and you're going to see a very similar scenario. There's ships in these tech trees that if you're facing a ship that's a higher tier than you, you're just not going to touch it for the most part. Unless they just don't shoot at you and you can constantly kind of whittle away at them, you're not going to have very much fun trying to take them out. I think a lot of that is the lack of ships in the tech tree so far. I think Warthunder still needs to add a bunch of ships to this mode that, you know, kind of fill in the blanks, space the line out more, separate these ships that can't do anything. My biggest pain in the ass in these trees was the Akoma for the Japanese lines. They have done a little bit to help this recently by shuffling around some of the battle ratings, and they changed a ton of tech trees to do that. But I don't know, the Akoma just sucked for me. There are a lot of ships it couldn't compete with, and it got shredded by everything, and it's just a World War I battle cruiser, I guess you'd call it. It doesn't have a lot of firepower. So really, there's ships that can't really do a lot, and I think once they add in a bunch more, that'll help a lot. But for now, I think they're very focused on that community wish list. They have been adding a steady line of ships into this. They haven't really dropped it and abandoned it like, say, World of Warplanes was with Wargaming. Sorry, not Warthunder. So I think they definitely want to make a mode out of this, especially with the recent events that are all based on Naval. They're trying to drag in more players for it. But I think they definitely need to pay more attention to the mode, whether it's the bots, adding ships to the tech trees to actually fill them out, rather than adding in premiums or just higher tier stuff. So I think they have a little bit of work to do on this once they have time to focus on it. The other thing, per the future of the game, that I want to touch on is post-World War II ships. Right now, the kings of the tech trees are USA, Germany, and maybe USSR. Those would be the three that I always would recommend for people to research first, because those are probably the best ships tier for tier. But what's going to happen to Germany post-World War II? Are they going to have any ships to fill in that line, or is there going to be a giant blank space until modern day, maybe? Same with Japan, same with Italy. You know, what is their post-World War II lineup going to look like? Are they even going to have ships after that? Like for Japan, are they going to have something after Yamato? It's something that I'm concerned with, because I do like playing Japanese ships, and I do want to see Yamato in the game in due time. Obviously, they still have to add stuff like Nagato and Amagi and stuff like that, but you know, I'd like to see them add in or address what they're going to do post World War II with these nations that really didn't have a navy after that. But it seems like for now they should just continue focusing on the lower tiers and the higher tiers, and just filling it out in general so that people won't be blocked by these ships that can't do anything, and add more diversity to the games rather than just seeing 800,000 Omahas at the mid tiers or something. But for now, I think this is a very, very good game mode. You know, they might add in subs in the future based on the event too. I'm not thrilled with that, mainly because these subs are boring. You know, they're not the World of Warships. You know, they go underwater for a certain amount of time. They're completely invincible and invisible, and you know, you can't touch them. They have homing torpedoes, whatever World of Warships added. You know, homing to torpedoes are a bad idea in the first place, but you know, Warthunder based on the event seems like it's underwater. You can be detected based on noise. There's depth charges. There's bombs that can hit you. The armor-piercing shells can actually hit you underwater, which is a nice addition. And you can't launch torpedoes unless your periscope is up. Say, well, at least periscope depth, I should say. So it's going to make you a little bit vulnerable. But to me, it's boring. These ships don't go very fast. You don't get out of spawn. I don't really see how they're going to play into the game when you already have destroyers that are zipping all over the battlefield, dropping torpedoes and taking out, you know, top tier battleships, and you have PT boats that are zipping all over the battlefield even faster and also taking out battleships with torpedoes because the battleships refuse to target them. So I don't really see a place for these submarines. It's cool, but I really see them kind of like a helicopter thing where, yeah, they're in the game, but short of them giving them 20-kilometer super speed torpedoes that didn't exist, and them being able to sit in the back of the field and just lob them constantly like ATGMs, I don't see them being very effective or useful or anything really. I don't think they'll even get to a cap unless the game's 30 minutes long. So, while it's cool that they want to add them, I don't see a lot of gameplay benefits to it outside of events. But that's what I see for the future. Currently, I'm really enjoying this game mode. I'm struggling with the World War I battleship line. Well, I guess not line, but the two ships, Ikoma and Setsu. Setsu is quite a bit better than Ikoma. Ikoma's just nails on chalkboard bad. But they really can't compete with the higher tier ships, which kind of irks me once in a while, but it does make it fun when an Alaska ignores you and you get up close and just feed it to their magazine. But I am really enjoying this. It's nice that, you know, it's not all the bow-in gameplay. It's, you know, people will come up to you, they'll go full broadside, and you'll just have a slugging fight back and forth. They're not worried about, oh, I took 5 citadels at once and my ship died. You know, people are just, yeah, I'm gonna get up to 6 kilometers from you, which is basically knife fighting range in Warthunder Naval, and we're just gonna slug it out and have a good time. You see Scharnhorst and Alaskas and Kronstadts doing it all the time, and every once in a while one of those slow World War I battle cruisers or battleships sneak in there and get their own hits in, which is always funny to watch. But I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it for people who haven't tried it yet. The low tier destroyers are just wicked fun to knife fight and drop torpedoes and dodge torpedoes. And overall it's very, very enjoyable. They've made it a lot better with the changes they've made. They continue to add in ships and focus on the game mode rather than just ignoring it because it doesn't have the same amount of players as the other two game modes. Ground and air, I mean. But it definitely seems like they want to add more focus into it based on their events and based on their recent additions. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the future. Still highly recommend it for people who haven't yet. If you have been playing it, hopefully you're enjoying it, short of the bots. And really that's all I have to say about it. It's fun, it's good ships, it's still developing, but overall I see it as a giant positive compared to like World of Warships where it just became a massive gimmick fest. Anyway guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.